Brad Williams, Excel Prime. We're going to look at a list, and all we want is unique. We want the unique produce. Show a list of unique produce. Well, you can see our produce list, and it is the wrong color here. This is just a random output of our favorite produce. And all we want is unique. There's two ways to do this. We can use the old school, and if you have newer version of Excel, you can use the second approach once I introduce it to you. The first approach is just a simple index match with a COUNTIF. We have to find any duplicates. We don't want the duplicates. Using a COUNTIF inside of a match is going to allow us to do that. Well, we have a lookup value. And we have our lookup array, and then we have our match type. Exact match, match, 0, exact match. Our lookup array, F9, COUNTIF. COUNTIF will D5, D5, D4. What's critical here, we can't include the first characters. We need a starting point, and here our reference begins with this COUNTIF in cell D4, one row above the first entry in this list. This is deliberate. We need to count items that are already present in the unique list. And we can't do that without creating a circular reference. Thus, we begin with the row above. Okay, that'll be our lookup. And then index is just going to find the row. So we're going to have this array. We have a name range. Produce 620, B5 to B11. We have row number. That's ultimately what we're trying to find. And it's going to be F9. And it's going to be row 1. It's just going to go down, so on and so forth. Now, if you're curious as to what's going on with this COUNTIF, here it is, COUNTIF D4, D5. It's an expanding range. So as we move down, you're going to see with an absolute value, and a relative value. D4 is absolute. The second D4 is relative because we need to count. Here's what it looks like. COUNTIF D4 at produce 620. Why do we have this at sign in there? Think about it. What happens with this COUNTIF in the newer versions of Excel? It's going to spill. We don't want to spill. Throw this intersect in there and cut it off. If we look down, if we just keep going, you see D4, D6. Going to continue to be 0. If we go back up in here, we look at this COUNTIF, this lookup array, F9, what do we have? Zeros. Because our COUNTIF, if they're all zeros, is going to be 1. And hence, our row is going to be row 1. If we go down here, we look at this lookup value, this lookup array, F9. Now we're going to have 1. What row number are we going to get? We're going to show up here and F9, row number, F9, F9. You see we got row 2. Now the way match works is, keep in mind, look at our setup here. We have match 0. That's what we have to find. And match will always match the first 0. So here in this second argument here, we have this lookup value, F9, F9. What happens there? Well, 0 is going to find the first 0, which is going to be 2. We go down here to number 4. We look at the row number, F9. That's not what I want. I want this COUNTIF. I want to see the lookup array, F9. Where's the first 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should be onion. Work through this. I just use this first cell here as an example. But if you want, you can break this thing down here. Include the COUNTIF, and you're going to see this breakup. Here we have this COUNTIF. Then I added the match to the COUNTIF. Now we have 1. I just did the index match. Break it apart if you need to. Read this. It's self-explanatory. The lookup doesn't apply. I deleted it because it didn't serve a purpose in this tutorial. If you want to make life Really simple, really simple. And you've upgraded to at least Excel 365 or Excel 2021. You have the unique feature. All right, it just does everything for you. All you got to do is unique and then hit produce 620. It does the exact same thing. Here, this long explanation can be resolved simply by using the unique function. Upgrade, if you, I suggest you always try to upgrade. Maybe you can't. And if so, you're stuck with this old legacy approach. Otherwise, the unique will incorporate this in one quick, simple argument. In terms of the unique, we can and we will. We'll extend this much further, and it's again, the newer tools within Excel have a little horsepower, and they will save you a lot of time. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Thanks for watching.